Let's be friends.
Have you not?
And here we go.
Let's be friends.
Have you not?
And here we go.
And good afternoon and happy May the 4th, everyone. Welcome back to the Ambassadorial Wing. Hope y'all are having a wonderful May the 4th. It is a day for geeks of all stripes, especially those of us of the Star Wars fandom, to come together, to celebrate, to relax, to nerd out, to just glory in the fact that we are all geeks. We're all geeks of this fandom called Star Wars. And I hope y'all enjoyed the stream today. Hope y'all get a chance to join me today. And of course, I put the link in the chat if anyone wants to pop in and talk this thing that we call Star Wars with me today. This is just going to be a nice little chill, laid back chat. Their stream, nothing major, nothing heavy, just let's talk Star Wars. Let's talk about this thing called Star Wars that's been around for 40 years, some fandom that all of us grew up with, that we loved, that we enjoyed, that for one reason or another we have stuck by for all of these years, and we can't get enough of it, even when at times it is bad. So, and hope y'all have a wonderful May the 4th, a wonderful Revenge of the 5th. And if you have the chance, if you're able to, wherever corner of the world that you're in today, if you're able to go see the 25th anniversary of The Phantom Menace, go do it. Really, go do it. So, and I do want to say hello to the chat. Mr. Mladen Kulik, I have not seen you in a while, Mladen. I know it's been a long time since I've streamed early enough to where you can actually join, but Mladen, happy the May the 4th to you as well, buddy. I hope you're having a good day in your little corner of the world. And you might be wondering, Ambassador, where the hell have you been? Just a brief aside. I haven't seen you since, well, March. Where have you been? What have you been doing? Well, because last time I was live was for Dune Part 2. Well, I went to see Dune Part 2, and, well, if you want to know what I thought about it, well, want to go check out the stream I did with my friend Zach Leary. And to put it briefly, it was awesome. Can't wait for it to come out on home video. But what have I been doing in the meantime? Why haven't I been streaming? Why haven't I had any things uploaded? Well, I have been getting my pieces put in place. This month, I'm starting my new rollout for my new round of content for the next several months, and you will be seeing more of me. So, if you're wondering, Ambassador, where the hell have you been? Well, I've been planning out my content. I've been working on some projects. I've been picking back up the old pen, and, well, the metaphorical pen, not the literal pen, but I've been writing. I've been working on my fan fiction. I've been working on a couple other projects for some friends of mine. And that's what I've been spending my time doing. But starting this month and going forward, you will be seeing more of me. There will be more live streams. There will be more uploads. There will be more watch-alongs and so on. So, but today is just a day for all of us as geeks, of all of us as fans of Star Wars, to come together and talk about this thing that we love. talk about the EU, talk about the OT, talk about the PT, even talk about the ST if you're so inclined. Yeah, Milan, I'm aware of that, but I like physical media. I like having my copy in my hand that can't get erased or deleted. But thanks for that heads up. I appreciate it. But that's where I've been. That's what I'm got planned. To give y'all a brief update on what exactly is going to be coming up. I'm starting a new movie review series surrounding the movies of a director I personally love, and I know a lot of other people enjoy, that being of Mr. Quentin Tarantino. We'll be doing one movie a month from his filmology and everything until, well, we get to Once Upon a Time in Hollywood. So, going to be doing more ultra retro reviews. Going to be doing, like I said, at least one or two watch alongs a month. This month we're doing 2 watch alongs just because, well, I wanted to. Going to be doing a watch along for Galaxy Quest, and also doing a watch along. Give me a minute. Let me pull up my schedule here, because it's good to have a schedule. That's the wrong thing. There we go. Here we go. Ah, yes. The other watch along will be for Conan the Destroyer from the 1980s. So that's what's coming up, at least for this month. And going forward, I will put out updates as is warranted, and when the stuff's ready. So, but enough of the updates and so on. Let's talk Star Wars. Where do I think Star Wars is now as a fan 40 years on? Is Star Wars dead? No, Star Wars is not dead. Star Wars will never be dead. Star Wars will always be culturally significant. That will never ever change. Its popularity may wane and thrive, but Star Wars will never be dead. Because there are so many corners of this franchise that people can discuss and enjoy and watch and read and play with and collect and so on and so forth, that no, Star Wars will never ever be dead. Only a doomsayer or a naysayer would think such a thing. Only somebody whose imagination has been put into permanent paralysis that Star Wars will ever truly be dead. Now, is the content that is being presented lately something that I am particularly interested in? It's a 50-50 split. Sometimes yes, sometimes no. Do I intend on watching Tales of the Empire? Not particularly, no. Why? It just doesn't interest me. The characters they're focusing on aren't characters that I really have a great interest in. I mean, yeah, I'm a fan of Grand Admiral Thrawn, always have been, always will be, but I don't necessarily need to know about him and Morgan Elsbeth's connection. I got enough of that. I got enough of an explanation in season 2 of The Mandalorian and the Ahsoka series. She was an agent of his. Okay, all well and good. That's all I need to know. She was one of the last remaining Night Sisters of Dathomir. Okay, well enough. All well and good. We have the backstory on Barriss Offee. Okay, she became a member of the Inquisitors under Vader. I'm not saying if you like that sort of thing that I'm not going to associate with you. It's just not something I'm particularly interested in. That's the long and short of it. Am I going to be watching The Acolyte when it comes out in June? Probably not. Why? No, it isn't because it has more female characters than male. That doesn't make a difference to me. It's just a story that I'm not particularly interested in.
Does that necessarily make it good or bad? Does review bombing it or disliking it on YouTube make a difference to me one way or the other? No, not particularly. It's just not my thing. It doesn't intrigue me. It doesn't inspire me to want to go and watch it. It's not that I have lost my passion or my love for Star Wars, by no means. And I've got a whole room in this house that both me and Madman Bastard have dedicated to our collections of Star Wars. And that's where we are. We have made our peace and everything. We have made our points and everything where we stand on the sequel trilogy. There are parts of it that she enjoys. There are parts that she doesn't like. I find it to be a complete and total wash, and I'm working on my own version. That's long and short of that. So, but I'm not going to be one of these people on social media or on YouTube that's going to sit here and have a grumpy face a whole damn time or hide behind a bucket and say, well, Star Wars is dead, Star Wars is over, blah, 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 give me money. No, I'm not going to do that. That's not my reason for being a Star Wars fan. I want to enjoy Star Wars. I want to enjoy the parts of Star Wars that I enjoy. And if something new comes out that piques my interest, then I will, of course, give it my time and attention. But Tales of the Empire and The Acolyte don't interest me. The original trilogy, the prequel trilogy, the various animated series like the Clone Wars and Rebels, to varying degrees, those interest me. The old expanded universe, that interests me. Me writing my own story, my own trilogy, that interests me. And that's where I've kind of veered. This is where I've kind of changed course with my channel. And this, I realized that I've been spending so much time talking about other people's work that I've track of working on the stuff that I enjoy, working on my own projects, writing my own stories, whether they are in someone else's universe that I want to play in or they're in a universe that I personally enjoy, i.e., Star Wars. That's why I'm not doing stream after stream talking about every new release movie. It's not that I am not going to the movies anymore. I went and saw, just a few weeks ago, I went and saw Annabelle, the movie about the teenage vampire ballerina, and I enjoyed it. But I didn't see the necessity in putting out a video or doing a live stream review about it. I miss going to the movies just to go to the movies and enjoy myself. Or me and the Madman Bastard going to the movies and just going to the movies so that we can enjoy it. This does not mean naysaying anybody who does that sort of thing. You want to? Fine. That's your prerogative. This is my prerogative. This is what I want to do with my channel. If I only upload 1 or 2 videos and do maybe 1 or 2 or 3 live streams a month, I'm good with that. Yeah, I'm Aladdin. It's called Abigail. You may not have seen the trailers for it. The trailers came out earlier this year. It's about a team of criminals that kidnap a teenage girl who is a ballerina, but it turns out that she's actually not just a teenager and a ballerina, but she's also a vampire. It was, I will say, a very entertaining movie. It made me laugh. It at times made me cringe because there were points where it was extremely gruesomely bloody, but at the same time, being a child of the 80s, I enjoyed that sort of thing. So, I would, if you're interested in that sort of thing, Aladdin, I would encourage you. Once it comes out on VOD or home video or whatever, go check it out. It was a fun time. I'm not going to lie. But I've come to realize at my age, I'm 45 years old now. I spent the first few years of this channel discussing the things that I loved and that I enjoyed, and I was passionate about it. Most of you know I've had some health issues for the last year or so, and that's kind of sidetracked me and sidelined me from working more on my channel. As much as I wanted to, but I'm doing better, relatively speaking, with my health issues. So you will be seeing more of me, but I'm tailoring the content in a direction that is beneficial for me so that I can continue to work on my side projects and have a personal life, but also put out content for you all that you will enjoy, that you will all gain something from, that you yourselves will enjoy. So I decided not to watch it too much. The trailer sounds like a movie for me. Yeah, Mladen, I would definitely encourage you go check out Abigail. It was a fun time. The trailer doesn't. I mean, yeah, the trailer does spoil the major thing about it, the fact that she is a vampire. But there's a lot more going on in this movie than just that. You've got some really good, interesting characters with the crew that kidnap her and so on. So it's got some interesting twists and turns. So, and thanks, Milan. I appreciate it. Into Septic Stream. Septic, I recall you from a long time ago. It's been a while. It is good to see you, and well, happy May the 4th. So, but you know, 34 on May 7th. Well, Milan, happy birthday to you, buddy. And I hope you have a good one. Truly. So, but today, Septic, we're not talking about a particular film or anything. This is a May the 4th stream. We're talking Star Wars. So, I was just mentioning and everything to Mladen and everything that I got to see Abigail a few weeks ago, and just giving my brief thoughts on it. So this is really my obligatory May the 4th Star Wars stream. So I might do another one later this evening and everything. Just depends on what I've got going on and how I'm feeling. But yeah, that's the topic for today. Star Wars. And I've done various Star Wars streams over the years. I mean, I've talked about the original trilogy. I've talked about the sequel. I've talked about the prequels. I've talked about the sequels as much as I intend to, because, well, you can only say, well, this looks so many times, and it gets boring. Now, I can say why the sequel trilogy sucked, but that's a topic that's been pretty much covered ad nauseum at this point. So there's not much more I can add to it except to say that I'm writing my own version of it because I was unhappy. My ex legit prefers the holiday special Empire because he hates the direction that Star Wars went after Episode 4. That's my ex. They're my ex for a reason. Your ex prefers the holiday special over Empire Strikes Back. Yeah, you got away from your ex for a good reason, Septic. So you don't need that type of derangement in your life. Because even I have seen the holiday special, and even I know how cringeworthy that thing is. Because I was I was watching a live stream of it with a former associate and everything who no longer runs his channel, but that's a topic best left alone. So, and Jeff B, good to see you, buddy, and happy May the 4th. So, hope you're having a good day, buddy. Hope you do something Star Wars themed the next couple of days. Myself, me and Mam Ambassador were originally going to go see Phantom Menace tomorrow, but unfortunately, she's not gonna die or anything, but she's not feeling well, and we had planned to do this together, and I just did not feel right going to see it without her. So we decided to get a refund on our tickets and everything, and I'm just gonna let it pass by. So, but yeah, Septic. You don't need that type of derangement in your life. Someone who thinks that the holiday special is better than Empire Strikes Back, well, they got issues. They got serious issues. I mean, the only good thing that really came out of the holiday special was the introduction of Boba Fett. So, yeah, that's your. Her name's Madam Ambassador, Jeff. You know better than this by now. How many times do I have to tell you this? I know you're a little stuck in the past. And I know you're doing it to be a little bit of a troll, but I haven't gone by Kosh in decades. Okay, not decades, years. Knucklehead. The thing is, the only original trilogy movie I got to see in theater was Return of the Jedi. And I will always love that movie. And yes, I recognize that some of it you have to suspend disbelief a little bit further than maybe you should, because how the heck does an army of 4-foot tall teddy bears go up against the Empire? But they made it work. My dad and I discussed it, but we saw episode 1 when the 3D release happened in 2012, and we just saw the Spider-Man Raimi trilogy in theaters. Good choice. Good Septic. Very good choice. So, but I did get to see the. Yes, Jeff, I know. You're an original member of the channel. That's true too, Septic. I forgot about that. Granted, it was a very low budget Kashyyyk, because I don't think they had TVs on Kashyyyk, as I recall. And I think they had a TV or something, or some sort of video screen. And just no, bad, very bad. I love the book, even though they were small nitpicks I didn't like. I read the first book, The Paradise Snare, in the EU Han Solo trilogy by A.C. Crispin. I love the book, even though there are small nitpicks I didn't like. The first Star Wars book I remember that I actually read, and this was many, many moons ago, was the first book of what is now known as the Thrawn trilogy. And that was, of course, Heir to the Empire. And I still have all 3 books, all first editions, all in still relatively good shape. So, I mean, a little yellowing of the page edges, a little wear and tear here and there, but I still got them. I will never get rid of them, not even if I'm destitute. I'll use them to sleep on as a pillow. But, I've expanded my collection over the years. So, where was I? Oh, yeah. The movies that I've seen. I got to see the original special editions in theaters back in 97. And I will never regret that experience. The only thing would have been embarrassed if I could have shared it with my father, but that is what it is. He was passed away, so no sense rehashing that. I remember when the episode 3 was coming out, every media hyping the film up had something to do with Kashyyyk. I swear they were acting like Kashyyyk was first revealed in episode 3. Well, technically, Septic, Kashyyyk was originally first revealed in the first Star Wars Battlefront. Now, it wasn't finalized to any great extent, but they did have the beach, they had the piers and everything that you could shoot, that had a couple of command posts on and so forth. It was a rough draft of the beach
on Kashyyyk and everything, where they had the battle scene in Revenge of the Sith. But yeah, I mean, technically speaking, Kashyyyk was first revealed in the holiday special. Yeah, that's what I mean. They hinted at it a year prior. Yeah, they did and everything, but Battlefront, the first Star Wars Battlefront game, the original, the OG, um, that was a great game. Not gonna lie, but the trailer, to this day, I still get choked up over that blasted trailer and everything that they did and everything for the release of the special editions. And I don't know why the hell I get choked up. I mean, it was just Star Wars. I mean, but being able to go and see 4, 5, and 6. Sad we never saw Renvar. If only the sequel trilogy had it. Yeah, that's a shame, Septic. But again, they did with the sequels what they did, and well, honestly, at this point, I don't care. I just, the thing I hate the most about the sequel trilogy is the fact that it has seemingly divided this fandom. You've got one side of the fandom that says that the sequels are the greatest thing ever. You've got another side of the fandom that says that the sequels are absolute tripe. And ever since then, there's been this great rift. There's been this divide between the fandom, and I don't like it. Now, yeah, they're just movies. It's just a franchise, just a fandom. I get all that. It's trivial. It's not that big of a thing to have a beef over another person with. But I, to this day, cannot bring myself to rewatch any of them. I just can't. And I've done what I can to try and, in my own small way, be a bridge between the two sides of the fandom. Try and be a place where people like me who can't stand the sequels and people who do can at least have a civil conversation. But no matter how hard we seem to try, there always seems to be another thing that pops up that creates a divide in the fandom. I enjoy watching them, even if they could have been a million times better. That's still how I feel about the prequels. Even though I love the prequels, I know they could have been better. Here's the thing. Septic, the sequels could have been, the prequels could have been better than anything if Lucas had other people come in to work with him rather than just be him and a bunch of yes men. Yeah, the prequels could have been better, but at the same time, the prequels were not that horrible. I mean, let's narrow it down here. Some of the cringeworthy dialogue, yes, could have been better. Jar Jar Binks could have been a hell of a lot better. A Sith Lord, no, but could he have been a better written character? Yes. One thing I respect about the prequels more is that at least that's what the creator's vision was. Yes, Septic, that is true. But for the sum of its parts, the prequels were a solid set of films. They weren't disjointed. It was a narrative that carried on through all three parts. Each movie had a beginning, middle, and end that was satisfying for the most part. And they all told one collective story, or one continuous story, not set up, breakdown, and then set up and conclusion. Because the setup was The Force Awakens, the breakdown was The Last Jedi, and then they tried to do a reset with The Rise of Skywalker, and then poof, it's over. I mean, I had a lot of vitriol and anger towards J.J. Abrams and Rian Johnson both, and I still do to varying degrees. But most of my, I've done my best to let that go, because it's not something that's worth fixating over. It really isn't. Yeah, here's the thing. I know stories and have come out and so on about what Lucas wanted to do with his version of the sequel trilogy. And I would have been fine if they had gone that direction. I would have even been fine if they had gone with the direction that Colin Trevorrow had done, because somebody got everything. Obviously, the script for his version, Duel of the Fates, has come out, and people have a group has done a animated or an illustrated audio comic book of the Duel of the Fates and everything based on Colin Trevorrow's treatment or his script, and it wasn't perfect, but it would have been a hell of a lot better than The Rise of Skywalker. Just saying. And that's the other thing. You've got these naysayers on social media who say, "Oh, Star Wars is dead, you might as well just let it die." Star Wars is never dead so long as there is a single fan who still loves it. And considering the amount of fan films and fan fictions and fan projects that are going on, and hi, I'm one of them. I'm a member of that community too. Star Wars is still alive and well. You may not like what Disney is doing, but there are fans out there who depending on their resources and their abilities, are trying to carry on the legacy of Star Wars in their own small way. Hi, I'm one of those people. So no, Star Wars is not dead. There's still content out there. It may not be officially through Lucasfilm, but there are people out there who are adding their own voice and their own perspective and their own stories to the broader Star Wars universe. So no, Star Wars will never truly be dead. I even talked to anything. This was a couple of years ago. A director named Phil Hawkins, who did a very well put together fan film called Star Wars Origins, and you can find that video and everything, that interview, on the Star Wars playlist here on the channel. So no, Star Wars will never be dead. I will fight tooth and nail to make sure that never happens as a fan. Let's see. I'm still one of the few kids who like Jar Jar and still have him as an adult because of nostalgic memories. And that's fine, Aladdin. No one says you can't. You like Jar Jar? Fine. You like Jar Jar. I don't dislike Jar Jar. I just didn't like the direction that they went with his character. With the whole rhyming thing George was saying, Jar Jar would have been the prequel Yoda reveal of the silly character. Yeah, but the problem is that he went too far with what he did with Jar Jar. It just didn't work. It didn't fly. It did not work the way Lucas had hoped it would. And that's unfortunate, but it is what it is. Jar Jar Binks is the character that he will remain. Now, will I say I was extremely happy if it did fly, though, in episode 2, just maybe? Well, here's the thing, though. Jar Jar at that point was being painted as a tragic figure because he was easily manipulated. Yeah, and that's possible too, Septic. That's very possible too. The issue with Jar Jar was the execution. They made him too silly. They made him too comical, not to mention people had an issue with the accent that Jar Jar spoke in, not to mention the rest of the Gungans. They made him too comical. Now, did I like the angle they went with in him with the final battle against the droid army? They kind of made him a Buster Keaton-esque
type of character where he was fumbling his way around the battlefield, but he was succeeding. Yeah, that kind of worked for him. That kind of worked for him as a character. So, yes, Jeff, that's true. Jar Jar was an ill-fated attempt at humor. Now, in terms of him being something groundbreaking in terms of CGI, you had a fully CGI character that was a prominent part of the characters. Granted, he became irrelevant, and that was Watto. Watto was an extremely well done, fully CGI character. I will say the one thing that I dislike about the changes with the Phantom Menace was them changing Yoda from a puppet to a CGI character. I liked the puppet version of Yoda. I liked the design. I liked the fact that it was a physical character that was actually there. Now, am I going to pitch a fit because they changed Yoda from a puppet to CGI? No, I'm not. But that was a change I wasn't the biggest fan of, but at the same time, I can live with it. It was like, for the longest time, I had the biggest issue with them changing the Force Ghost of Anakin from the older gentleman Sebastian Shaw to Hayden Christensen. I didn't care for it at the time. But I've come to look past it because it's part of the story that Lucas was trying to tell. He was trying to connect everything together. I can respect that in terms of the narrative. So, I think it partially had to do with the accent septic. Jar Jar had a somewhat Jamaican accent, and Watto had a somewhat Semitic. That's the way I'll say it, a Semitic accent. So, now, if you're not accustomed to hearing those sorts of accents, then I can understand why you wouldn't see it that way. But there were certain people, certain groups that did see it that way. They didn't care for it. You know what? That's their prerogative to not like it being that way. So, you have your beef. Okay, fine. I can live with that. But, for all its issues, the prequels set up something really dynamic and interesting and inspiring that has still inspired people to this day. Not it spawned not one but seemingly two really good animated series, and that was of course Star Wars: The Clone Wars and Star Wars Rebels. Now, I will say this as well. Jenny Tarkovsky's Star Wars miniseries, both of them were great. Was absolutely great. Was the CGI animated series, all 7 seasons, great? Yes, it was. So, yeah, that's true too, Septic, because that was a little more pronounced. You could pick up on that a little bit better. But yeah, that was the issue with not just the Neimoidians, the Trade Federation, but also with Watto and Jar Jar. So, but again, I was one of the fortunate ones. I got to see all 3 of the sequel trilogy movies, or prequel trilogy movies in theater. I even went in cosplay for Revenge of the Sith, or not Revenge of the Sith, but Attack of the Clones. So, and I still have my costume. It's still put away. And crying by the reveal at the end. Yeah, I mean, who wouldn't have been shocked that back in the 1980s? Holy crap! That guy in the suit with the voice is that little blonde-haired kid's father. How the hell did that happen? And Septic, here's the thing. Did I get caught? Me and Mad Ambassador get caught up in the hype of episode 7 when it came out? Hell yes, we did. We fought tooth and nail and everything to try and get our tickets the moment that they dropped. Now, will I say there are still parts of episode 7 that I enjoyed? Yes, there were. But the thing that broke episode 7 for me was not Daisy Ridley. I don't have a beef with any of the actors that worked in any of those movies. I want to make that perfectly crystal clear for those of you who may or may not follow me on social media. I don't have a problem with the actors. It was the way the characters were written that drove me nuts. Because how in the hell did a girl who just found out about the Force? Okay, let me just, let's take it back a step. How can a person who just literally found out about the Force pick up a lightsaber and hold their own against someone who was trained, but not by one, but two highly skilled and very powerful Force wielders themselves? That being Ben Solo, aka Kylo Ren. Rey should have had her ass handed to her by Ben. And yet somehow she got the upper hand because, well, he was he was out of balance or some damn thing. And Septic, here's the thing. You liked The Last Jedi? Okay, fine. I can't stand the damn thing. I can't. I cannot stand the comedy. I cannot stand the writing. I cannot stand the characterizations. I cannot stand a drop of it. I tried to watch it like a year and a half ago. I couldn't get 5 minutes in. I turned it off. But if you like it, okay, fine. You like it. That's your prerogative. And Milan, the same goes for you too. You like The Last Jedi, okay, fine, you do. But to me, it is a flawed, incoherent mess of a movie that does not make a lick of sense. Then it's too damn preachy. Well, and his Septic, here's the thing. I live in a space that some fans don't. Because I'm old enough to remember the original trilogy. Both special edition, and unspecialized edition. I'm old enough to remember when the expanded universe was started. I'm old enough to remember seeing the prequels and watching the Clone Wars. And I'm also I'm old enough to now watch the various live action series and animated series that they have done since then. Now, here's the thing. I've made no bones about how I feel about some of the live action shows. The Mandalorian I liked, even though it had issues, especially with season 3. I liked Book of Boba Fett, even though it had issues. I liked parts of Kenobi, but there are a lot of issues with Kenobi. But do I hate it? No. But they've always made a point of saying, well, this all is supposed to connect in one way or another to the sequel trilogy. So someone who knows all this context, has all this knowledge of before Disney and with Disney, where do I stand? How do I regard some things in terms of my own personal canon? The old EU will never be erased, no matter how hard Disney, or not so much Disney, but Lucasfilm tries to erase it. I see this as new EU, which is maybe what their intent was supposed to be. I don't know. I'm not in the head of Kathleen Kennedy or any of the other executives. I don't pretend to know what's going on in her head. I'm not some fraud or charlatan who sits in front of a webcam
and says, "Oh, I used this piece of mirror to look into her office or some damn thing. I'm not a liar." I've said this before and I will keep it brief. The Mandalorian, Kenobi, Book of Boba Fett, The Bad Batch, Tales of the Jedi, Tales of the Empire, The Acolyte, and anything else they decide to come out with, as far as I'm concerned, is a new expanded universe. You can regard it as canon or you don't have to. Myself, I don't. It's the same thing with the old expanded universe. You could consider it a continuation of the story after Return of the Jedi, or you can consider it disconnected. I see it as a bit of both. And that is the mindset that I maintain. For me, the story ends at Return of the Jedi. If you want it to continue, there's the old and new expanded universe. And Septic, that's his prerogative. If your dad wants to do that, who's to tell him he's wrong? Who's to tell me I'm wrong? Who's to say who's to say any one of us are wrong depending on our perspective? You know, one of the best pieces of dialogue that has ever come out of the Star Wars trilogy, and it came out of Return of the Jedi. And it's what Obi-Wan says to Luke on Dagobah during their conversation. Luke, you will come to find that many of the things that we believe, that we cling to, depend greatly on our own point of view. I have a point of view, you have one yourself. There is no right or wrong answer here. I think The Last Jedi and The Rise of Skywalker and various parts of The Force Awakens are utter nonsensical garbage. You think it's good? Fine. I'm not going to sit here and call you an idiot for having your own damn opinion. That's not what a fandom should be, and unfortunately, that's what some of this fandom has become. And it shouldn't be this way. There's no reason why we should be at each other's throats over a fictional freaking universe. You know, Mammoth Master, she posted a meme from an account on social media. And it said, "Today we are not original trilogy, prequel trilogy, or sequel trilogy fans. Today we are all Star Wars fans." And that is absolutely true and absolutely correct. I don't, most of you know, I only go on a rant when I feel it is warranted. Well, today I will give you all a brief rant. And yes, I'm going to use a few puns to allude to certain individuals or groups on social media. I am not some doomsayer who wears a bucket and a gown that he got from the Goodwill and says that Star Wars is dead and that the franchise is beyond saving. I am not so-called geek or gamer who only spouts hatred and vitriol and bias and negativity for my own monetary gain because I dropped out of high school. I am not some zero intelligence nitwit sitting in his parents' basement spouting nonsense about phony and fake theories and stories that will never come to pass. I am a fan. I am a fan of Star Wars. I will always be a fan of Star Wars, even when it's bad. Star Wars is something that connects me to my past and to my family.
namely my father. And I see it a disservice to my father's memory because he got me involved in this franchise, in this fandom, even before it was such a thing. It is a dishonoring to his memory, and I refuse to be part of a fraction of a single digit percentage of a fandom who only wants to spread hate and intolerance and negativity because of a bunch of, frankly, something that should be treated as trivial. There are movies, there are books, there are TV shows. If this is the only thing you have going on in your life, then you really need to reevaluate your life. I love Star Wars because it connects me to memories of my father. I see it as a disservice to him to relegate my thoughts to nothing but the negative. I will not go there. I'm done going there. You want to live in the past and have your beefs with The Last Jedi and The Rise of Skywalker and whatever else, fine, do so. You want to pander nonsense and rumor and conjecture as fact? You're an idiot for doing so. Star Wars is meant to bring people together, not to divide them. Star Wars is supposed to be something that's fun and enjoyable for everyone, not a means of pushing some sort of nonsense agenda. I left that faction a long time ago, and I will never go back. Because they are a dead end. All they will do is regurgitate the same talking points every few months. They will come up with new nonsensical rumors and conjecture to get themselves a few extra 100 clicks or views or whatever so they can make a few extra bucks. Find something better to do with your life and your time. It's not meant to be a means to make a living because you have no other marketable talent. Rant concluded. Yeah, I did this stream today because I love Star Wars. Because I wanted to talk about Star Wars, I wanted to share my thoughts and have other people be able to do the same, regardless of how big the audience is. I know I've lost some subscribers because my channel has gone somewhat inactive. And to those people, I say, if I let you down, I'm sorry. I had to take care of my health first before I could get this channel back up and running the way I want it, and I wanted to go in a new direction for the channel because I want to bring content that is entertaining, is fun, but also informative, and also presents good conversation. I want to have good conversations here, not just spout bullcrap. I don't want to talk about the latest snippet of movie news. That to me is not interesting. That just leads to you wearing a mask and going mad. So if I prioritize my health for a while so that I could get myself healthy enough that I could do this again, and I let some of my subscribers down, I'm sorry. But my health takes precedent. Yeah, and Len, I agree with you. That's one of the few Star Wars films that I really hoped that gets released. And I will say this, I never got a chance to see Indiana Jones: The Dial of Destiny. I really wanted to, but again, me and Mam Ambassador's health was in a place where we really couldn't last year. So that's why there was never a review of any kind. And do I want to get the movie so that I can watch it? Sure. I would like to see it and everything and make my own decision. Was it good? Was it bad? Did you hear about the deleted prequel, deleted scenes where Anakin brutally kills Padawans and Sindral? Like, man, I wish we got that so badly, but George considered it too violent in the film as a hollow. Yeah, Septic, I agree with that. And Lucas went as far as he felt he could go in terms of the violence for Revenge of the Sith. Do I think it could have gone a bit darker? Probably. Would I have liked maybe a slightly darker version of, or maybe a little more violent version of Revenge of the Sith? I don't think it would have hurt anything. Do I like. I will say this. Of the flashback scenes that we saw from Kenobi and from season 3 of The Mandalorian involving Grogu and Reva, when um, Anakin and the 501st are attacking the temple, I think that nicely fleshed out some of the stuff we didn't get to see or didn't have an opportunity to see in Revenge of the Sith. Now, I know there's rumors that there is a 4-hour cut of Revenge of the Sith. Would I be opposed to that ever being released? No, I would not be opposed. Yeah. That may be the case too, but here's the thing. You needed that scene to see just how far Anakin had fallen. You needed that scene. The fact that he was going to go after kids. Now, granted, all you see is the expression on his face and him igniting his saber. But I don't think Lucas was uncomfortable. I'm glad we didn't need to see Anakin actually attack those. That would have been too much. Most definitely. That would have gotten the movie an R rating or teetering on an R rating. But I think what the flashbacks did in Kenobi and Mandalorian season 3, I was okay with those. So, am I the only one that gets annoyed when it seems Disney adds a new Force wielder in the Empire era each time it takes away Luke being the last hope to me? Here's the thing. Did Order 66 succeed in breaking the Jedi Order? Yes, it did. Do I have an issue with like Padawans or younglings or whatever surviving? Not so much, no. The goal of Order 66 was to eliminate the Jedi High Council and a lot of the higher ranking masters and so on, which it succeeded in. It scattered and it broke the Jedi Order. That was the main goal of Order 66. The side effect was a lot of the Jedi being killed, but at the same time, the other part of Order 66 was the discrediting of the Jedi in total, which it did succeed in. Now, I get your point about having Force wielders like Cal Kestis or Ahsoka or whoever else still out there. But here's the thing. The general public viewed the Jedi as disenfranchised, as a corrupt order, which in a lot of ways wasn't wrong. They were corrupted, but they were corrupt. They
they thought that they were untouchable by the time of the prequels. So now, am I mildly intrigued with what the Acolyte's going to do in terms of adding to that story? Yes, but at the same time, how much can it really add? I'm just saying. I'm not trying to be a naysayer here and say don't go watch the Acolyte. If you want to watch it, watch it. But at the end of the day, the prequels got the additions that they needed through the Clone Wars and, like I said, through Rebels. Because Rebels was, and even Ahsoka, was a continuation and even Bad Batch. I watched like the first season of the Bad Batch, and it was okay. I didn't dislike it, but it got repetitious after a while, so I checked out of it. Now, have I watched clips and snippets online and everything of scenes from the Bad Batch? Yes, I did, and I even watched the ending. And that's true too. Am I a huge fan of the whole the Inquisitors and so on? It's 50-50. I don't dislike the idea of the Inquisitors or the Inquisitorius, but at the same time, I don't think it diminishes Vader that much because he was the head of it. It was his pet project, in a manner of speaking. But here's the thing, too: the Inquisitors didn't last that long either. At some point, all the Inquisitors got taken out. And from what I understand, the Inquisitors weren't continued on any further. I'm planning on watching the Acolyte just to see if they are going to mention stuff that happened in the High Republic books. And that's Milan, that's your prerogative. I didn't read any of the High Republic books or the comics or anything. It wasn't because of any type of anger towards them or anything. It was just a simple fact of disinterest. I wasn't interested in reading the books. It didn't seem like my type of thing. So I'm sure there are a lot of people, a lot of Star Wars fans out there that really enjoyed the High Republic books. Good. I'm glad you did. I mean, I think I even did a short video on it back in the day when Project Luminous was launched, and it was about the High Republic. I said then it was going to be a 50-50 shot if I wanted to invest any time in it. I decided not to. Not because of any bad feelings about it, just simple fact, I didn't have the time and I wasn't that particularly interested. I mean, you can be a Star Wars fan and not consume every single piece of media that's put out nowadays. And I will make one comment, though, on the current state of current Star Wars content pertaining to certain series and so on, like The Mandalorian and The Bad Batch, and not so much Book of Boba Fett, no. But Ahsoka. No, I did enjoy Ahsoka. I won't lie. I did. I liked Ahsoka. There were certain characters in there, like Balin Skull and his apprentice, Shin, that I absolutely loved. I loved the character of Hu Yang. Yeah, now granted, he was a returning character from Rebels, but I liked Hu Yang. Cool character, interesting. The return of Ezra. The return of Thrawn, definitely. Those are all good aspects. The show itself did have some issues, yeah, but I still enjoyed it. But the reason I don't really read the Star Wars comic books anymore, one, just simply don't have the time or space to have them, is from what I understand, they're using the comic books and to varying degrees some of these live action animated shows to backfill gaps in the shoddy writing for the sequel trilogy. I'm not interested in trying to explain X, Y, or Z about the sequel trilogy. I want you to tell me an interesting story. And that's the difference between the old expanded universe and the new stuff that Lucasfilm is putting out. If you like it, okay, you can like it. That's your prerogative. Again, it's not my place to tell you can't. I personally, I don't want to have things explained to me. If I can't watch a movie and get the entire idea behind what is being told to me, then there's issues with the writing. Yeah, and that's true. And of course, rest in peace, Ray Stevenson as Baylan Skoll. He was an absolute beast. Absolutely awesome. I loved him. Him and Thrawn and Shin and Morgan Elsbeth. Absolute badass villains. But the old expanded universe didn't use its time or its content to fill in plot points because of shoddy writing from the movies. The original trilogy was coherent, it was cohesive, and it flowed. It fit together, and it fit together fine. Did they do books and stuff? Yes, they did, but they told their own individual isolated story. Now, you could, like I said, with the old expanded universe, you consider it canon, or you consider it separated from the film canon. But episodes 4, 5, and 6 tell a cohesive, entertaining, engaging story. The prequels do the same. Now, does the Clone Wars flesh out the relationships between Anakin and Obi-Wan and Padme and the clones and the other Jedi and Sidious and Dooku and all that? Yes, it does. And does it even reintroduce Darth Maul? Yeah, it did. Yeah, and Septic, that's true too. You can watch A New Hope by itself your whole life and be satisfied if you don't know there's other films. Yeah, you can watch. Now, was it absolutely awesome beyond belief that there is an Empire Strikes Back and Return of the Jedi? Yes, there is. Yes, it's a great thing. Now, the prequels, that's a little bit harder to do because they are interconnected stories. They do flow from one to the other. So could you just watch The Phantom Menace and have a full story? Yes and no. Because you're going to wonder, okay, what happened next? We got the Attack of the Clones for its flaws and its good points. It continued the story. Revenge of the Sith, same thing. Did it have flaws? Yes, it did, but it had a lot more good points as well. But with the sequels, everything was so rushed and so hurried and so slipshod and so haphazard, and things were changed and then picked back up and then changed again. 1 minute Rey was a nobody, next minute she's a Kenobi, next thing she's something else entirely. Her and Ben are connected. Palpatine's 1 minute Palpatine's completely dead, next minute, oh, he's come back! Hi, hello! And they have to spend part of the Mandalorian and the better part of the Bad Batch to explain how he got resurrected. That to me is not quality writing or storytelling. It's haphazard, it's half-assed, and it's just lazy. And yeah, Milan, I brought that up before, the 2003-2004 2D animation by Jenny Tartakovsky. Absolutely wonderful. Really good, solid animation, solid storytelling, the whole thing, not to mention the introduction of General Grievous. They made General Grievous an absolute beast in the Tartakovsky animated Star Wars anime shows. And that continued on in Volume 2. but having to spend 2 or 3 shows, and not to mention a dozen books, explain, oh, this is how Palpatine got resurrected in the Rise of Skywalker. This is where the planet of Exegol came from. This is how the face of Moose. This is how the atmosphere environment of Mustafar got changed. Yeah, and Milan, thank you for mentioning that. Asajj Ventress. Yeah, I almost forgot her. Thank you for bringing her up.
And that's true too, Septic. Yeah. Nowadays, it's rare. Brief aside, I mentioned Abigail earlier in the stream. The movie about the vampire, the teenage vampire ballerina. There is, it's a fun, gory vampire movie, but it does have a thread of an emotional story as well. Now, I'm not going to spoil it, because for those of you that haven't seen it, I want you to go watch it. So, like in Spider-Man 3, with the flaws that the film has, a wonderful message about forgiveness. Yeah, about Harry forgiving Peter and Harry forgiving himself because he didn't realize who his father truly is. Milan, that's true too. Because how many times did we have a fake out death in The Rise of Skywalker? Chewbacca, Ben, Rey. Hux stayed dead, which kind of sucked because I liked Hux, even though Johnson completely screwed up his character. And Phasma. Phasma was the only other character that stayed dead. And I feel bad for Gwendolyn Christie. She got lied to. I will say, though, Gwendolyn Christie has gone on to have a very good career outside of Star Wars. I mean, she's done 2 really good roles in a couple of Netflix series, one being The Sandman, the other one being Wednesday. So I'm happy for her in that regard. Well, and here's the thing, Septic. There's an upside and a downside to that, because here's the thing. The thing about comic book movies, Septic, is it does draw from comic books themselves, and a common trope in comic books is main characters very rarely ever die and stay dead. I.e., one of the greatest stories or anything, or greatest deaths in comic book history, the death of Superman. This is supposed to be one of the biggest stories ever done, because this was like one of the most iconic superheroes in the history of comic books being killed off. But they did eventually bring him back. Now, was that a good story too? Yes, it was, because you had the reign of the Supermen. You had Cyborg Superman, you had Steel, you had Superboy, you had the Eradicator, which was a clone of Superman that had the consciousness, the collective consciousness of all the ancestors of Krypton residing inside it. So I get what you're saying with the whole multiverse thing, but that goes all the way back to the old comic books. Even old school comic books, very rarely did main characters get killed off back then. Yeah, I know. I'm just waiting for Robert and Chris to come back. Chris is signed, so that could be a spoiler. Yeah, and that makes me sad, because that completely and totally undermines both Cap and Tony's deaths in Endgame. And, not to get off on a big side note again, I, as much as I was and still am a fan of Marvel and the early the Infinity Saga, and even some of the movies after the Infinity Saga, Marvel has just really screwed the pooch for me. you know, I love Marvel. I was a Marvel fan before the MCU even existed. But not to be a downer here. I want this to be a fun stream, not a downer stream by any means. And that might be the case, Septic, but at this point, it's past caring because they already did Wakanda Forever and yada yada. So it is what it is at this point. If they can't get something as simple as the Fantastic Four right, what is the hope for the rest of the MCU going forward? The Fantastic Four. They can't get a team where one guy stretches, a girl is invisible, another guy can turn himself on fire, and the other guy is a walking, talking rock that's near indestructible. And their main villain, Doctor Freaking Doom, one of my favorite all-time villains in the Marvel Universe. If the MCU cannot get that right, if Marvel Studios cannot get that right, then they just need to close up shop now. There. That's all I'm going to say on the matter. But with Star Wars, yeah, and Septic, just briefly, yes. I fully agree with you. Anyway, the thing with Star Wars is a character dies, they stay dead. If they're a Force user, okay, they can come back as a Force ghost. That's one thing. I've even done it in my own fan fiction of the sequel trilogy I'm writing. I have Anakin, I have Obi-Wan, I have Yoda. That's it. 3 Force ghosts. That's it. That's the limit. Have I played with them a little bit and how much they can interact with people? Yes, I have. But that's the extent. Have I played with a little bit with what they can do in the material world? Yes. Can they cast Force Lightning? No. Up yours, Rian Johnson. There. That's my little 2-second stick to Rian Johnson. But in Star Wars, death has meaning. Death has consequence. Even for Force users, they lose their life, but they can become a part of the living Force and manifest themselves as a Force ghost. But they're dead. And I think that's something that is important that we should remember. That in real life, death has consequence. It has an effect on people's lives. It's hard, it's painful, it's permanent. But the thing to remember is not to lose hope. And to chat, Ferris of Ferris Geeks World, happy May the 4th to you, buddy, and may the Force be with you. Good to see you, pal. Yoda says something to Anakin in Revenge of the Sith that I think is hard for any person in the real world to really accept. Learn to let go. Train yourself to let go of everything that you fear to lose. I think that's unrealistic even for a Jedi. Mourn them, do not. Miss them, do not. Rejoice in them. Rejoice in those who become part of the living Force. No offense, Yoda. That's easy for you to say. Did you ever lose someone that you cared about? Did you not mourn them? Did you not miss them? Were you able to simply rejoice that they became part of the living force? I'm 45 years old. My father passed away in 1984. And to this day, I still miss him. Am I angry or bitter about the fact that he's gone? No. Because I know that I will see him again. And that might be the case, Septic. I don't know. But I think there's a better quote from another sci-fi franchise that we all love and enjoy, and that's Star Trek. And it's specifically from Star Trek II, The Wrath of Khan. When Kirk's son, David, comes into his quarters and tells him, hey, you taught them that how we deal with death is as important as how we deal with life. There's truth there. And honestly, I think Kirk's son is a lot wiser than Yoda. That's true, Septic, yeah. And you know what? Great. I'm pull that up. This is very true. And I love the reference, Mladen. Just but a scratch. All your arms and legs are gone. What are you gonna do? Bleed on me? I love, for all of you who don't know, I love Monty Python, The Holy Grail. One of the most hilarious movies to come out of Britain ever. And I mean ever. And yeah, that's true. They have made the lightsaber not as deadly as it once was. The first time we saw a lightsaber used, a guy's arm got cleaved off and there was blood. You get stabbed with it, you disintegrate. Now, granted, we know that Obi-Wan surrendered his physical form, became one with the Force. He didn't actually die, but still. Yeah, and Septic, that's one of my issues with Ahsoka. Sabine was perfectly fine. She got stabbed with a freaking lightsaber. That used to be instant death. Instant death. Anakin walks into the Jedi Temple, and he's cutting down Padawans left and right. Now, you get stabbed in certain parts of the body. Oh, you're perfectly fine. You just eat some Bacta or something. You'll live. You need to rest up for a few days. Reva got stabbed not with one, but two lightsabers, for Pete's sakes. Oh yeah, she's perfectly fine. The Grand Inquisitor, he gets stabbed. Oh yeah, he's perfectly fine. 'Tis but a scratch. That's, I'm trying not to go on a big negative rant here, but yeah, the lightsaber isn't as feared as it once was. But, to kind of steer this back in a more positive direction. Yeah, essentially, Septic, you're not wrong. But, I am very happy to say, and this will not be, this is a brief, okay, it's pertinent. For the longest time, I have always wanted one of those movie quality replicas of a lightsaber. It needs a little TLC. It needs a little care, but give me just a minute. I'll be right back, guys. Hang on, I'll be right back, guys. Yeah, I see that septic. Haha, very funny. A few months ago, I was at a vintage toy store that me and Mam Ambassador frequent on several occasions. We're regular customers. And in one of their back rooms and everything that has some of their more expensive stuff. Well, expensive. I saw something sitting in the corner. I looked at the price and I was like, I've got to get this. And, well, to quote a Jedi Master that we all know, love, and respect, an elegant weapon for a more civilized age. It's Anakin's lightsaber. Am I gonna say it's a crown piece of my collection? No, that's a different piece entirely. But I always wanted one of these, and now I have one, and it's one that I always wanted. Granted, there's one I've always wanted a little bit more, but this is Anakin's saber that Obi-Wan gave to Luke in Episode 4, A New Hope. And that's the other thing. That's the one thing about Star Wars I love too. The collecting. And this one only cost me $80. Like I said, it needs a little TLC. The hilt needs some polish and a little cleaning and everything, but it still works. The batteries were still good in it. And one of these days when I go to a Comic-Con or something, I'm going to take it with me. Now, do I still collect at my age? Oh, yes, I do. I collect the Black Series. I collect the vintage stuff. I collect the Funko Pops, the ones that interest me. I collect the T-shirts. Well, I know you really can't see this T-shirt that well, guys, but it's essentially Darth Vader made up of a bunch of TIE fighters and an X-Wing fighter shooting at him, and the laser beams from the X-Wing form Vader's lightsaber. So, but I will always be a fan. I'll always be a collector of Star Wars merchandise, old, new, and otherwise. So, yeah, and this is back in the early 2000s. I got rid of my Star Wars collection, and now today, almost 20 years on, I wish I never had. Because I had stuff from the original series of the original trilogy of movies. And, that's the one, that's one of the other good aspects of being a part of the Star Wars fandom. Regardless of what you collect, it's all awesome. Whether it's the vintage stuff, it's stuff from the prequels, it's lightsabers, it's books, it's Funko Pops, it's statues, it's hot toys, it's sideshow, whatever it is, it's all awesome because it's all made well. I just wish I could say the same for some of the stuff that they did for the sequel trilogy. Now, am I going to say that it's all crap? No, because some of the stuff that they did, the Black Series figures in particular, for the sequel trilogy was actually really good. Yeah, they had good molds. They had good casts of the characters, of the actors for Rey and for Finn and for Kylo, for Ben Solo, whatever you want to call him. That stuff was good. But like the 3 3/4 inch figures, they were crap.
Sequel trilogy had some cool vehicles. They lacked so many vehicle toys. Yes and no. That's true. I mean, yeah, some of the. I mean, okay, I'm just gonna say it. Did we not get a massive AT-AT thing from The Last Jedi? Not that I recall, Septic. I know they did a Lego version of the Gorilla Walker, but I don't think they ever did an actual toy of the Gorilla Walker. Now, they may have. I just don't remember. But the figures just weren't that impressive. They were small, they were flimsy, they just. Now, they did do it was like a version of a base or something that was shaped like BB-8, stuff like that. But I don't remember the Gorilla Walker per se. Of course, I wasn't really paying a whole lot of attention to the toys from the sequel trilogy after Force Awakens. I mean, I honestly don't remember. I mean, I got the initial stuff, and I still have a few pieces like everything. I have one of the taller, like the 12-inch. I think it was like a foot tall or something of the of Vader and Kylo Ren, and then I have the 4-foot Vader, or yeah, the 4-foot Vader that talks and everything. I got that. Yeah, I'm right here, right there with. Andor is the one show that I think every Star Wars fan across the board, to one degree or another, can agree was good. And because it was. And the great thing was it didn't rely on nostalgia. It told its own separate story, though connected to Rogue One and the prequels. And you know what? Here's the thing, Septic. I like Kylo. I just. There were parts of his character arc I didn't care for. Namely, the fact that he got beaten by Rey in Force Awakens. Doesn't make a damn lick of sense. Okay, yeah, I know he got shot by Chewbacca, but he was still kicking it. He was kicking ass. So obviously that wound wasn't that severe. But that's a different argument for another time. Andor was a good show. It had good performances. It had a damn good cast. I mean, you had Diego Luna return. You had Genevieve O'Reilly return as Mon Mothma. Of course, we had Stellan Skarsgård as Luthen Rael. You had Forrest Whitaker come back as Saw Gerrera. Oh, for heaven's sake. She had the one Imperial officer, the one woman who was in the ISB. Damn it, I can't remember her name for the life of me now. But that Andor was a good, well crafted, well written show. It gave a level of realism. Of course, we can't forget Andy Serkis as Kino Loy. You had great, absolutely wonderful performances and writing. You've got people saying on YouTube saying, it's not real Star Wars, there's no lightsabers, there's no Darth Vader, there's no nothing, it's just a bunch of spies and crap. It's all Star Wars. Honestly, Septic, I'm going to tell you the truth. I have absolutely no intention of going to see the Rey movie. And no, it's not because Rey is a woman. No, it's not because I dislike Daisy Ridley as a person. It has nothing to do with that. It's just the simple fact that they're stealing part of the story from Luke Skywalker's
expanded universe story arc. They're calling it the new Rey, the new Jedi Order. That was the title of the storyline when Luke restarted the Jedi. It's theft. Or at the very least, plagiarism. I will not review it, and I will not down talk it, nor will I smear it. I'll simply work on my own stories and work on other things I care about. Yeah, Milan, exactly. Jason Bourne, the Bourne films, Bourne Identity. I can't. I've got them all over there, but I don't feel like getting up to look at them. But the Bourne trilogy, yeah, I love those movies. Matt Damon was an absolute badass in those movies. So, but as far as the Rey movie goes, I won't go see it. If I never seen, I mean, do I wish me and Mad Ambassador could have gone to see the Phantom Menace tomorrow? Yeah, I do. But that was the experience we wanted to share together. She wasn't feeling well enough to do it. I'm not going to do it by myself because it isn't right. If I don't ever go see another Star Wars movie in theaters unless it's a re-release, I'm okay with that. If me seeing it home in my nice comfy recliner and watching Star Wars on my TV on my 4K TV is my experience of watching Star Wars from here on out, I am okay with that. I have the remastered original trilogy on VHS. I have the unspecialized original trilogy on DVD. I have the complete saga episodes 1 through 6 on Blu-ray. I will eventually have the Clone Wars, at least the seasons that I can get my hands on, and once I have the space to put them somewhere. I have my books. I have my records and CDs of the soundtracks. I'm happy. I'm set. I'll continue to work on restoring the vehicles or anything that I've been able to pick up here and there. And I, as a Star Wars fan, am perfectly happy. I don't have to rely on Disney or current Lucasfilm. They can do whatever they want. They can release whatever they want, and I will keep my own counsel on what I want to watch and what not to watch. And Septic, I get that too. I really do. I get that entirely, bud. But for me, while I can appreciate why you find that distracting, that for me, I would not do that myself. Now, will I give a laugh or a chuckle or whatever? Yeah, I will, but I'll try not to distract other people in the theater. Aladdin, for me, it's 50-50. I need to see a trailer first, or a couple of trailers first, before I make a decision on that. I'm not saying I'm opposed to seeing it, but they're really going to have to give me some sort of, not like physical incentive, but they're going to have to give me some sort of incentive to want to go see it. That's all I'm saying. I'm not asking to be compensated, but they're going to have to make this movie something really special, make it good, write it well, craft it well, take the time to make something of quality that I want to go see in theaters. That's why I'm also been selective about the movies I go see nowadays. Now, and also part of it does come into play. Part of it is budget. Do I have the money for me and the missus or just myself to go see a movie? That's another thing.
I mean, did I want to go see Ghostbusters Frozen Empire? Yes, I did. But it wasn't in the budget. So I will eventually wait to see. I'll get it on home video. I'll get it on Blu ray or 4K or whatever. Yeah, exactly. So, but, it's like in a few weeks or so, or well, a couple months from now, um, we've got Deadpool and the Wolverine coming out. Oh, I'm definitely psyched for that. I'm excited for that. I'm going to go see it. I'm going to be revisiting the first two movies. So, Septic, I don't even think then I would go see it. Even all that, and besides, I don't do drugs except for the ones I'm prescribed. Drink, yeah, but even I wouldn't get drunk enough. You could incentivize me with enough alcohol to go see Ray, the Ray movie. No, that won't happen. I don't think there's enough alcohol in the whole world to have me go see the Ray movie. No way. That's a good one, though, Septic. I like that. But, May the 4th, some people say, oh, Star Wars Day is the day that the original movie. No. If I was a ghost, I would go haunt Ryan Johnson. I would drive him mad. I'd make his walls bleed. I'd make his roof shake. I'd make his furniture float off the ground. I would do everything conceivable to drive him mad if I were a ghost. What do you do with your afterlife? I'm going to go hunt Ryan Johnson. Why would he do? Where have you been? You know what he did. He knows what he did. He deserves this. But you're going to make his walls bleed? You dang right I'm going to make his walls bleed. Make his walls bleed. Make his toilets explode. Make his sewage pipe back up into his house. Flood his basement. Are you going to end him? No, I'm not going to end him. I want him to suffer. But yeah, maybe they were. Maybe they were. Because as the old saying, knowledge increaseth much sorrow. I have the knowledge that episodes 8 and 9 exist. Oh, Mladen, if I'm a ghost, I'm dead. Why do I care? I'm a ghost. I'll spook snakes into his house. I'll have his house become infested with snakes. My partner and I disagree. I believe ignorance is bliss a lot of the time. He doesn't. If he's seen the sequel trilogy, ask him if he'd rather not know that those movies exist. I know you like them. You like The Last Jedi. That's fine. But if he doesn't, then ask him. Would you rather not know that The Last Jedi and The Rise of Skywalker exist? Or even The Force Awakens? Just saying.
That's true. Ghosts don't have a sense of smell, so I can make his house smell as bad as I want. He'd be like, "What the hell did I do to deserve this?" And then a disembodied voice says,
The Last Jedi.
But and then you have to ask yourself, do I want to torture my partner this much? Do you really want to torture your partner that much? I mean, has he really done something that awful to warrant that type of abuse and torture? That's the other great thing about Star Wars. It can make you laugh. Even if it's at somebody else's expensive. Like talking about haunting Ryan Johnson's house as a ghost. So, well, my fellow knights and masters, he likes Sonic 06, Sonic 06, so do I. If you're talking about the video game, that's okay. And speaking of video games, y'all might be asking, Ambassador, are you going to be playing Star Wars Outlaws? Maybe. But I'm not paying extra for a bunch of extra stuff. I'm going to get the base version. That's it. But I might play it. I'm still pissed that they canceled the or they sidelined, or whatever the case may be, they sidelined the remaster of Knights of the Old Republic. It still makes me mad as hell. They released a trailer, they released a teaser with Revan. Even the Star Wars Eclipse game, I was interested in that, and all we got was a damn trailer. And they're like, "Oh, we're not doing it now. The company's shuttered." And I'm like, "Then why release the damn trailer in the first place, you assholes?" Mando game? Oh yeah, that too. No, I don't know if I want to play a game involving the Mandalorian. I mean, I got a TV show. I think that's good enough. So, just have to wait and see. But Outlaws, it's 50-50. If I play it, I'll get it secondhand, or I'll get the cheap version. I won't get the one with all the exclusive content. You get a mission that takes you 5 extra hours to play. Oh, gee, 5 extra hours. I'm so excited. That's what I've heard, Septic. I've never had a chance to play it, but I have heard that. But I will still never forgive them for making us wait or outright canceling the remaster of Knights of the Old Republic. One of the biggest mistakes Lucasfilm and Disney ever made was shuttering LucasArts. Damn, that game studio put out some awesome games. I mean, Knights of the Old Republic, Knights of the Old Republic 2, yes, it had issues, but it was still good. I mean, the OG Battlefront and Battlefront 2, Star Wars Starfighter, Jedi Starfighter, not the Mandalorian, Dark Forces 2. So many awesome freaking video games that they did throughout the years. Or are you talking about the remaster of Knights of the Old Republic, Septic? If that's the case, okay, fine. I'll cut him a bit of slack. Oh, Septic. Okay. All right. I will. Okay, I can wait then. I'll wait. Oh, Aladdin, that too. Yes, I still have that game. I actually think I have it right here. Yep, I got my copy right here. I haven't. Here, sorry, the sun's a little bright. I haven't played this in a while. I think I'm going to re-upload it on my PC, and I'm going to play this sucker because I love this game. But I think my fellow knights and masters, we're going to call it a day, at least maybe for now. So thank you all for tuning in today. And as always, make sure you like and share. And if you're not subscribed, make sure you're subscribed. If you have been unsubscribed, make sure you resubscribe. So, and of course, follow my socials. I do worry they could rewrite the characters. Like, what if they rewrote Basilisk so be different because of the current state? I hope they don't, but Septic will just have to wait and see. But anyways, folks, happy May the 4th. Happy Star Wars Day and Star Wars Month. And as I like to say at the end, remember these things. Be yourself. Be authentic. Make sure to laugh at least once a day. And never take yourself too seriously. If you do all those things, you will always have a place in the ambassadorial wing. Happy May the 4th. And until next time, this is the Ambassador, signing off.
Let's be friends.
Have you not?